In today's video, I remove some unnecessary pins, drill out some unnecessary holes. In addition, I fill some unnecessary surface details. And lastly, I glue balls. Hello fellow modelers! The Arma hobby recently released the new iconic P-39 Airacobra in 72 scale. I couldn't resist. There are 5 markings, including Polish and French units. It was challenging to choose one. Look at the beautifully fine and sharp surface details. I will probably make only new rivet lines. I must mention again that it is 72 scale, so the details on the instrument panel or wheels are insane. There is even Firestone logo, so no need for some resin replacement set. Older Arma hobby kits had thick clear parts, but the new sets are perfect. As you can see, the kit is perfect, so it will be without modification this time. Note: it is good to drill holes for internal construction. I use thin drill bits for electronic boards. Available are from 0.1 mm diameter, but I usually use 0.3 to 1 mm. If you pre-ordered the kit, you obtain these lovely 3D printed parts as a bonus. I hope that they will offer to purchase them separately, because they are handy. The wheel well parts have a crazy soft rivets near the seam line, therefore try to use only a minimal amount of glue. Good is to use a super thin glue that flows into the gap. This part fits roughly. The problem is that the hole for the pin is too shallow. So you can remove the pin or make the hole deeper with a drill bit. It's also essential to remove residual sprue and large ejector pins. The fitting of this kit is very precise, so it is crucial to make the surface perfectly clean. There seems to be some problem, because I cannot close the fuselage. The hole is again too shallow. This looks better. I use for filling seam lines on leading edges black superglue. The black is better than classic transparent, because you can easily see where you apply it. The fuselage and wings are for even light versions with extra access hatches and formation lights. You must fill them out if you decide on early version. I downloaded photo documentation from Google for this type of aircraft. I found that the wing construction on elevator and rudder was visible. Thus I am drilling holes with hypodermic needles and micro drill bits. This detail will be partly hidden and hardly visible, but I like it. If you are new to this hobby, then this step could be difficult. You must precisely apply this decal sheet with the printed gauges on the instrument panel. The most crucial step is to soften the decals film with the decals chemicals, otherwise it will not copy surface details. I am spraying large areas with an airbrush, but for small ones is good paintbrush. I use acrylic water-based paints because they are odorless. Excellent are pre-cut spraying masks for clear parts and wheels. They are included in the kit, so you don't need to buy them separately. I am spraying the first layer with a lacquer silver paint and over the acrylic cockpit green. The lacquer paint is quite resilient, and acrylic not so much, therefore I can create nice scratches. I recommend creating door handles and levers, primarily if you want the door opened. I use residual plastic sprue and metal wires. I like funny P-39 construction, primarily of car-like cockpit doors. The best and funny part of this kit is small metal balls for counterweight. I primarily like how the plastic part is designed for the installation. I had residual superglue on my fingers and accidentally touched the fuselage. It is not a problem if you have a superglue debonder. I like filling these round parts with a superglue because it's more stable than, for example, Tamiya Patti. The only problem is that you mostly fill panel lines near seam lines, so restoring them with a razor saw is handy. The surface details are lovely, but if you are painstaking, you notice that something is missing. Yes, the riveting. This type of plane is not complex and has only a few rivet lines, so I recommend spending some extra time and making them. The overall look will be much better. I use the riveting wheel with a 0.55mm tooth pitch. If you have some practice, you can make the lines freehand, but I rather use masking tape as a guideline. Some blueprints with rivets are available online, but many are in the modeling books or magazines. The difference between the riveted and flat surface. So, what do you think? It's worth it? The fitting between the wings and fuselage is phenomenal. No putty or corrections are needed. The model is almost ready for painting, but not so fast. I want to show you few suitable improvements. I recommend drilling holes for Browning gun barrels. However, even the groove has a wrong shape, so modifying it with a milling cutter is adequate. The difference between modified and from the kit. Inside should have been Browning gun barrels. You can use resin accessories, but ordinary tubes from hypodermic needles suffice. Honestly, I forgot to add them and realized the mistake meanwhile video editing. However, they are on the finished model. The rivets are raised above the surface, so it is handy to smooth them with the sandpaper. The grey surfacer primer will nicely reveal imperfections or dust on the surface. Guys from modeling club advise me that the ports on the elevator and rudder are too pronounced and will be better to smooth them. I agreed. I use for airbrush painting ordinary Tamiya acrylic or AK paints. They are not the best, but they are relatively cheap and easy to clean. I made rivet lines, therefore it's now easier to paint post shading with darker shades. The real surface is never perfectly smooth, and you can imitate it on your model by making sections around the rivets a little bit darker. Also, it will make the model optically less uniform. You can make lighter, for example landing flaps or hatches. The shading will be less pronounced after the varnish layer, so do not worry. The best imitation of a scratches is scratches. Therefore I'm spraying the silver paint first and over clear varnish, which works like a protection. The varnish is very important because the silver layer is usually very smooth. The acrylic paint dries almost immediately, so I can try the scratches. Primarily around the cockpit is paint usually abraded by pilot or maintenance crew. I have the silver paint under, so now I can easily reveal it with a smooth sandpaper and water. Suitable is 2000 or 3000 grit. Oh, I forgot to paint the black on this lip strip. You can mask it and spray it with an airbrush, but if you dilute the water-based acrylic paints properly, then you can achieve a nice smooth result even with a paintbrush. The white or yellow acrylic paints are horrible, therefore I use lacquer Mr. Paint. I do not have water-based zinc chromat green, therefore I diluted Tamiya acrylic with isopropyl alcohol. It is important to unify the surface with a clear varnish, because the decals are printed on the clear film as well. If you want to smooth decals with surface details, like rivets, then you must use special decals chemicals. It is classic US aircraft, each cover has some label. The setter decal chemical works only a little, so it is essential to use a stronger, softer. In any case, they are still raised above the surface, thus I cover them with 2 layers of a clear varnish and smooth them with a soft sandpaper. And the final matte varnish layer. Now we can do some weathering. I can start with wash. You can mix your own from oil paint and white spirit. Do not use black and rather mix some dark brown shade. This technique will make the details more pronounced. Now I can wipe out excess wash with a white spirit. The surface still looks dull, so I can make more scratches with a paintbrush. You can try light grey or green instead of silver, because the silver is too shiny and pronounced. You can notice that I'm making scratches primarily on engine covers or maintenance areas. a proper photo documentation is handy. You can notice how the dirty surface can be, primarily our lovely exhaust stains. So, how to make this effect on your model? Simply, it is important to make them smooth, and for this is good highly diluted paint. Now I'm painting leaks according to the picture. I use again highly diluted paint, but water-based, because I don't want to wipe out the sprayed stains. The last but not least step is some leaks and dirt on the bottom of the aircraft. These are cooling exhaust, so try to make some oil leaks from the engine only around. I use oil paints because you can nicely blend them. And with these decals, I am done. I finished the model after 4 days, so it was a pleasant build and I enjoyed. Of course, you can make it even faster without new rivet lines, but I think it's worth it to make them. The kit itself has some minor faults, but overall it's outstanding, and you can build a lovely and cute model from it. So that is all. Thank you for watching and see you next time.